Today's guest built an incredibly successful career on OnlyFans and then asked the question that most creators avoid. What comes next? Hi, I'm most creators avoiding. Y'all, Lucy Banks, she did not just plan her exit. She built herself a future. In this episode, we are diving into what it really looks like to shift away from adult content creation. And that's whether you're thinking about entrepreneurship or brand deals or just building something sustainable beyond the algorithm. Hello, y'all. Welcome on back to Creators Spicy Tea. We are the podcast where we sit, we dish, and we spill that tea on adult content creation. And y'all, hold your butts. We are not alone. And that is 3 months in a row, which wholly exciting. What we are, however, is having a real conversation about what it looks like when we are really ready to move on to the next step. When we are ready to put adult content creation behind us and pop on over to our next adventure. I don't know about y'all, but the thought of moving my ass back to any form of 9-to-5 type job, yeah, that makes me want to crawl in a hole and potentially, hopefully die a little bit. I do not think I could do it again. I don't. My bipolar ass, that for sure could not handle that again. So what is left, right? If we remove the 9-to-5, the working for other people, what's left? Entrepreneurship. Here's the thing though. You're already an entrepreneur. We all are. We are already running our own businesses, y'all. But moving away from the area we are so comfortable with in adult content creation and moving on in to the next chapter of our entrepreneurship. Yeah, I get it. It's daunting as all hell, but that's why we're bringing in somebody who has already done it, you guys. Lucy Banks and her team reached out to me quite a while ago. I'm gonna be honest. There was rescheduling. Someone got sick. Hi. I looked into her information and was honestly really excited just for the opportunity to sit down and get to know her. But then, y'all, a LinkedIn post of hers was shared, okay? That post touched on the importance of building our businesses after our time in content creation was done. That excitement, straight through the roof, even higher, straight through the roof. This is a conversation I want to have. I want to talk to someone who's experienced that next step, who's experienced moving from content creation into whatever the future holds. I have no experience with that. I have no knowledge of it. And to be blunt, scary a little bit. So we're bringing in Lucy. We're going to pick her brain. We're going to ask her too many questions. Before we do that, okay, disclaimer. See this fancy dancy bad boy? Microphone. Cute? Not really. Really good for sound though. Here's the deal. Remember last month I had said our podcast recording software hates me? Yeah, still does. Still does not work with the podcast recording software, which, how? So please expect the audio quality to go just a titch down, just a little bit. I will do my best, I promise. But I'm rambling at this point. Can we please dig in? With all of that being said, I would like to welcome Lucy Banks, a retired OnlyFans creator, and now the founder of Billion Media, a PR agency in Australia, and the first of its kind. So, to start us off, hi Lucy. Can you introduce yourself and kind of talk about your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for having me on. As you mentioned, my name is Lucy Banks. I was an OnlyFans creator for over 4 years. So started pre-pandemic, navigated COVID through our OnlyFans, and then I guess came out the other side to start Billion Media. And the reason I started that was when I was an OnlyFans creator, I was trying to find a publicist. I was trying to find someone to represent me to do media and PR. and nobody would work with me because I did OnlyFans. So I decided to learn it myself, and I became quite clever and quite savvy at getting myself into the media. And here in Australia, I was the only one doing that at that time. And I became very well known, and it just propelled my OnlyFans so significantly because I was in the mainstream media. I've been on radio, I've been on TV. And I just thought, I was like, if I can do this for myself, I want to be doing this for other people as well. And I was sort of getting to the end of my journey with OnlyFans. I was at my peak financially when I left, but I was just over it, and I was looking for the next challenge. I'm a mum, my kids were getting older, and it was just the right time for me, and really the right projection.
That kind of the push to move on. Like, what was that moment? You said you were over it and you wanted the next challenge. Do you happen to remember like the moment you decided, okay, it's time to bring on Million Billion. It's time to let OnlyFans go?
I always said, and a lot of other creators get the same questions as well. They're like, you can't do this forever, or what are you going to do afterwards? And I disagree. I think if you do want to do it forever, you can. I don't believe that you age out of it. However, a lot of creators are very entrepreneurial, and for me personally, that works in cycles. So every, I guess maybe like 3 to 5 years, I want a new challenge. I want something else to do. And I was at that point where I was like, I always said I'd do OnlyFans until it wasn't fun anymore, until I felt like I didn't want to do it. And I just got to that point. I just thought every time I got a custom request through, I was resenting it. I was like, I don't want to do this. I just want to, I want to do something different. And I remember there was a day where I was doing a custom request. I had to do I can't remember what the request was. I had a manager who, she just kept me on track for everything. And she's like, Lucy, you've got to do this custom. It's been 3 weeks. And I was like, this is bad that it's taken 3 weeks because I don't want to do it so much. I'm avoiding it. And so obviously I did the custom, and I said to her, I was like, I think this is me. This is it. Even though I was making such good money, I just, what's the point of that if you're not enjoying it? And I wasn't doing a good job. So yeah, for me, it was recognizing, okay, I can see that I'm not being my best self as a creator anymore. I'm not enjoying it. And I want my subscribers to have a good experience. And I wasn't doing that for them anymore. But again, like I was faced with that challenge. I'm like, what do I do now? And like, what does my resume look like? I've just done OnlyFans for 4 years. How is that going to translate to a real life job? And I sort of knew that I couldn't go back to the office or go do, be employed by somebody. So it was a matter of how can I leverage the skills and connections I've made over these last 4 years to do something else, to take that into the next chapter of my life. And because I'd done it for so long, all my friends were OnlyFans creators. Like that was my network. And if I was to step away from the industry, I think it was almost like a bit of an identity crisis. I don't know who I was outside of Lucy Banks. So Million Billion Media I actually started off as a social media company. I did that for 6 weeks and I was like, I fucking hate this. I hate this so much. And then we shifted into doing PR and media, and it lights me up so much. And there's a lot of good that I think we've done for the industry. I can get into that in more detail, but I just love it. I feel like this was what I was meant to move on and do.
I can't begin to tell you how much I relate to that. I am always chasing a challenge. I am always chasing, what is the next thing I can learn? What is the next thing I can do? I feel that to my core. That is why Creators Spicy Tea exists. Because I was like, no, I can't just create content after like the first 3 months of doing it. I feel you. So when you were first building Million Billion, so you're first starting your next entrepreneurial journey, that takes work. That takes time. That takes so much dedication just to get it off the ground. Were you also doing content while you were building it? Or did you just leave content and then start building?
Yeah, so I had a hard stop. I was like, I'm going to finish up, I think it was like 1st of September 2023, and I was like, and I will figure it out. And I had a vague idea of Million Billion in my head, but for me, I was like, I know if I jump into the deep end, I'm going to have to swim. I'm going to have to figure it out really, really quickly. So, and I had no residual income. Not only did I stop making content, I shut down my OnlyFans. So I didn't have those subscriptions that were still flowing in. I shut it down. I couldn't start it again now. It's done. So I had to, is that good advice? Probably not. But I just know for me, if I had that to lean on, I was probably just still going to go back to it. Whereas once it's done, it's done. I've got bills to pay. I've got to figure it out. So I grew million billion. I was all in. It was very, very stressful. There was so many sleepless nights, and there still is, to be honest. But I'm glad I did it that way because I know how my brain works, and I knew that was going to get the best results for me.
I get that a lot because, yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. If I have a crutch, I'm going to use that crutch. I definitely get the drive behind just diving. Just dive in. Don't dip your toes. We don't got time for that. So I heard you say you don't think it's the best advice. I would kind of agree with you on that one. Definitely have a little bit of eggs in different baskets at one time for most people. But let me just ask a really general question. What should a creator overall expect their workload to be in the beginning of moving into an entrepreneurial next adventure? Like, how much more? Because creators wear so many hats already, and most people are going to be starting their next journey while phasing out of this one. How much was your workload? Is the phase out even possible?
I think it works really similar on both ends of the journey. So I give this advice to people who are in full-time jobs, or they're in office jobs, or they're doing something else and they want to become a content creator. And there's always that period of, I'm working a normal job and I'm doing so much with my content creation, I don't have enough time to do both. How am I juggling both? And it does need to be a slow transition. And there is going to be that period of weeks or months where you are doing 2 full-time jobs. But it needs to kind of be that way. And if you're not willing to do that, then maybe you should just stick with what you're doing. But you can't just stop say you work as receptionist. You can't just quit your receptionist job and then start being an OnlyFans creator the next day. It doesn't work like that. You need to build it. You need to have that momentum. And I think it works exactly the same way on the other end of the journey. So if you want to start, so for me, I started Million Billion Media, but if you are going to start, like a consultancy firm or something, you can't just quit OnlyFans and expect to have clients in your consultancy firm the next day. There needs to be a crossover. That is hard, and that is what separates people from either being successful or going back to what they were doing. So that's the right way to do it. I just know with me that I would have kept going back. But there's going to be that transition period, and it is hard, and the workload is going to be a lot. I've got a girlfriend at the moment who she's a dancer, and she's starting another business. She's working 100-hour weeks. For me, I think that's inspiring. And there's an argument to have around hustle culture, but I can see what she's doing for the bigger picture, and she knows it's not going to be forever. And I have so much respect for that.
Absolutely. 100-hour week, that's too many. That is extremely respectable. It's so inspiring for me to see creators who are keeping in mind the next step and building their way to the next step. And that's kind of something I personally, part of the reason I was so excited to join in on this talk is because, very selfishly, I want to start looking at my next step. So the creators who are doing that, keeping that in mind step by step, hats off, big bow, huge respect. I heard you mention just another field of industry, and that is a perfect tie-in to my next question. So the content creation career, you mentioned this, closes the door for so many people, especially in moving to their next career. For myself, I know for a fact if I had to go back to a corporate floor, it would be a hassle to find somewhere with this in my background, right? But my question for you, what would you say some of the more viable career paths, entrepreneurial career paths, could be?
So I think that many people that are in this industry do have an entrepreneurial mindset, which is why we're in this position to begin with. And there is a saying, I don't know if it's just an Australian saying or if it's worldwide, but the golden handcuffs. So once you're a creator, once you're in this industry in general, it's like you've got these golden handcuffs on, and it is so difficult to go and do something else, because where else are you going to make this level of money and have this level of freedom? So I'm speaking very generally here. Most creators are suited to going on and doing something else in the entrepreneurial space. By all means, if they want to go back to a corporate gig, that is great, and I support that. But generally speaking, most people want to move on to doing something else for themselves. Mm-hmm. And I am very, very passionate about, okay, so you're an OnlyFans creator, or you're doing something in the creator economy. What's your next step? You don't want to be at the stage where I was, where you're like, you're resenting it and then you're starting to think about it. It's a conversation that really needs to be had while you're in the thick of it and you've got all this attention and you're thriving. That is a time to be like, okay, what do I want to be doing after OnlyFans or after whatever facet of the industry you're in, and reverse engineering that and being like, how can I leverage this attention now to ensure that I've got that set up, or whatever you want to do. I think it's really important for you to be thinking about the future while you're at your peak, while you've got this very, very concentrated window of attention. How are you going to leverage that for your future? I see a lot of, especially like the younger creators who, and this is no discredit to them, but they just do not have that life experience and they think that they can do it forever. But we see it time and time again. You burn out and then all of a sudden you stop doing content and it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? I haven't thought about this because I thought I was just going to do it forever. And I thought the same thing when I first started. So I'm having a lot of conversations now with people who are like, oh, I don't need to be doing another business. I'm earning 50 grand a month. And I'm like, yes, this is why you need to be thinking about it now.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You said it's important to leverage your peak, right? Leverage where you're at. How did you do that?
That is a very good question. So again, and this is why you need to be thinking about what your exit strategy looks like, which I did not do. It just happened to be that I sort of did it the other way around, in the sense that I was in the industry for 4 years and I made so many good connections within the industry. I found my people, I found my posse, my tribe, and it's a space that I really thrived in. And it was kind of sad for me to think about leaving that. So because I had such a strong network within the OnlyFans community, I created something where I was already surrounded by potential clients and I could do something to help them grow. Whereas, I guess I had sort of like two customer bases, if you want to think about it from a commercial sense. So it was the creators and the network I had, but then also the followers and the men that followed me. And I needed to create something that I could leverage from either of those audiences. And I didn't want to do, like, I don't know, like a menswear line or men's fragrance. Like, I've got no interest in that whatsoever. Whereas if I had a conversation with a gorgeous client the other day, she wants to move on and do like cosmetics. So it's like, okay, great. She's got like a very strong male following, but she also does have a very strong female following. So it's about trying to post content intentionally to grow that female following, alongside the male following, because I'll just follow her because she's stunning. But it's about, she knows what she wants to do. We're going to start growing that side of things now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that does make sense what you said about having two like client bases. I get that because Creators Spicy Tea has creators. Alley Rope has buyers. So that does make a lot of sense. And I want to say much props, many props for balancing all that. I know it's a lot of a hassle sometimes. For your story, you had something you found that you had passion for and you had skills in, right? Okay. What were those skills that translated so well for you? And then to compound on that, what skills that creators develop through our time do you think generally translate into leading to a successful entrepreneurial future, a tomorrow, their own business?
I love that question. I think there is, and it's very funny, isn't it? Because people, the trolls, the general society is like, you can't go and do anything else. You've ruined your life. You're never going to be able to go get a normal job. Whereas the best hustlers I have seen, the people who thrive in an entrepreneurial space, are people who have come from the adult industry, because the skills are so strongly transferable to many different careers and business opportunities. We're all experts at social media. We're experts at customer service. We're experts at thinking outside the box, and generally people are very, very resourceful. So I think that there is such a strong link between doing this and then going into your business of choice, whatever that may be. I always think with business, like there has to be an opportunity there, but there also has to be an element of passion as well. So you need to be doing something that you genuinely like, because you're going to get better results if you enjoy your job. That's just basic human psychology. So that's in the entrepreneurial space. Whereas if you're looking at going back to a corporate job or something like that, I would love to see more creators from this industry going into things like business development roles, marketing, social media, because they're the ones who have done it. They've done the grind. Hypothetically, say if there's a fire department and the fire department needs to hire a social media manager, an OnlyFans girl is going to be able to come in and she's going to be like, right, we're going to do these trending reels. We're going to be doing this. You need to be posting this many times a day, as opposed to somebody who maybe has a degree in communication or social media, but hasn't actually built their own following and doesn't know what translates. So I think that society really has that wrong when they think that, like, no, you're never going to get another job. If you can find someone who's open-minded enough to be like, yes, I see that these skills are very transferable, then creators have such a huge potential to thrive, not only in their own businesses, but back in a corporate setting after being in this industry.
Completely agree with you. Completely agree with you. There was a period of time where I was thinking about what's coming next, right? And I was getting a little kind of frustrated because I'm like, what the heck would I even put on a resume? Are you kidding me? The technical skills that we developed through this? Holy crap. We developed so many skills, not to mention like record keeping, finance management, all of that stuff. So what would you say to a creator who's sitting there saying society's right? They're right. I have no future. There's nothing after this. I'm stuck with this.
I would say that you just have to find the right people. I have had so many conversations, particularly since starting Million Billion, about the potential of this industry. There are people out there, particularly in the tech space, who are looking at OnlyFans creators now. And this, they never used to. There has been a shift. So, but now they're looking at them being like, oh my gosh, these creators have so many skills. They're so resilient and they're so tenacious in the way they do business and adapt to, the challenges and the roadblocks. I honestly feel like there is a big shift in the way that the creators are viewed, and the respect seems to be shifting, which so it should. There's many tech companies who have reached out to me. They're like, do you know a creator who we can work with? About a year and a half ago, I hired a talent manager to do brand deals for our clients. And I had to make the role redundant because I was like, no one will work with OnlyFans creators. That was only 18 months ago. Whereas now I'm approached several times a week from businesses being like, send us through your girls' statistics. Like we want to do brand deals with them. It's changing. So if you are looking at your future and being like, I can't go and get a normal job, you're just not talking to the right people. Have hope, have faith, and I don't want to sugarcoat it. The stigma is still real. The stigma is still very, very strong. And that can be location based as well. In different parts of the world, people seem to be more open-minded than others. However, the internet is a very, very big place, and you are not refined. You're not to where your location is.
Very true. Like, very true. You used a specific word that I loved. You mentioned creators are all adaptable. We developed this talent and this ability for adaptability and being able to evolve fast and however we need. That leads me to wonder, are there specific industries or roles that you think creators can adapt into better in their future after content creation? Or is it just kind of follow your passion? Or both?
I think it's a bit of both. The conversations I've been having lately are creators who are in a similar position to I was. They're like, okay, I've been in this industry. I love this industry. What business can I create that's going to serve it? Particularly in the space of like AI and how fast technology is moving at the moment. I had a really good conversation with a creator last week who's like, I've got this idea for a SaaS-based startup. to serve the industry. And I was like, oh my gosh, like if we can get this off the ground, this is going to, like, all of your friends are going to be your clients and they're going to sign up because this is something that the industry needs. So there's a lot of, maybe this is just the circles I move in, but it seems to be there's a lot of creators at the moment who are identifying we're missing this. We don't have the internal infrastructure in the creator and the adult industry to be able to operate like other businesses. So, for instance, I would love to see a bank created for creators and sex workers. I would love to see insurance companies that would cover us. So if, if something happens, if there's a creator that like God forbid, but like had breast cancer or something, she's not going to be covered by a normal insurance company for loss of income. I would love to see social media, so where you can upload all your Instagram content and it flags it and it's like, babe, you might be taken down for this. It's too racy. So it's helping people avoid those shadow bans. If you look at, I guess, like, the real world and you look at all these things that other businesses have access to that we don't have access to, okay, how can we move that across to create something that is going to thrive and provide people in this industry with opportunities? So when you ask about, exit strategies and how to use your skills to do something else, I think that there's that, yes, you can go and do something with your passion, whether that's, I touched on it before, like open a skincare clinic or, I don't know, a driving school or something. Like there's such a strong amount of customer service and, like you said, finance management and things that we do in space that is all transferable. But I also think that your experiences and your connections in this industry is something that you can take a step back and be like, okay, how can I create something that's going to fill a gap in the market? And because other people can't do it, multiple times a week, I'm approached by people on LinkedIn being like, hey, these tech guys or like, these middle-aged white men who are like, I've got this idea for the adult industry, but I can't get it to market because none of the girls will talk to me. And I'm like, yeah, because this isn't your space. You need to go partner with somebody who knows this space. You need to, like, you think you've got a product that's going to service us. Do you? Have you spoken to anyone? Have you done your market research? So we're actually in a very powerful position where we can create things and we've got the experience and the clout behind us from having the experiences that outsiders can't. Like, people say that there's such a low barrier to entry on the sex industry. And I think in some ways that's true, but then not really. If you're going to create a product for this industry, how are you going to get it to market without having worked in it yourself?
And it's like, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, you haven't been in it. Why are you presuming to market to it? I love how you kind of put it that way. So you had mentioned banks. You had mentioned insurance companies, two notorious industries who stigmatize and discriminate against us creators, sex workers of all kinds. I am going to assume you felt a lot of that stigma at the beginning. You had mentioned you had experienced it 18 months ago. No one would work with you, and now you're getting called. So my question is, how did you manage that stigma when trying to build something for yourself?
Whenever I'm faced with stigma or judgment, I use it as motivation. I use it for, I guess, like fuel to get my messaging across. And I will die on this hill. Some of the smartest people I've worked with, creators and sex workers, and people are like, oh, they're pretty girls, but they're dumb. They can't go do anything else. And I'm like, no, these girls are so smart. They know that they can leverage their looks. They could go and be lawyers, accountants, doctors, all of these things. But why would they when they could take your money for just being pretty? Like, not just being pretty, but do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's almost like I treat it as like a little bit of a joke. By all means, judge us, stigmatize us, underestimate us. Go on, because I've got so much faith and confidence in the potential of this industry. And already in the time I've been in the adult industry in different capacities for the last 6 years, and I'm seeing it shift. There needs to be more of it, but there's been a shift. And even, like I mentioned before, in the last 18 months, it's been so significant. So I love being able to sit back here and being like, I told you so. I told you that, this will be taken seriously at some point. And it is. It's getting there.
Yeah. Good. It is getting there. It is getting there. And you know what? You are correct. I am so sorry. One of the smartest decisions someone can make is to use what the hell they were given at birth to make their living, to make their world, to give themselves support. It's looked down on as we are dumb and all of that. I am so sorry, person who's saying that. I would love to see you run a small business from the ground up, learn an industry that you have no knowledge on, trial by fire. Go for it. That's a really good point. When you started going into your more, we'll say mainstream-ish jobs, when you started working on that more mainstream business, did you have to worry about your reputation? Did you have to take any steps to try and clean or scrub your public image? Or did you just say, screw you, this is me?
Yeah, so all I did was make sure that my leaks were removed off the internet. But apart from that, because it goes hand in hand, I can't be running this PR and marketing agency that focuses on the adult industry without having my experience in the adult industry. So for me, I need to be able to, I'm really happy about my digital footprint. If anything, I'm quite proud of it because I've got the experience. As recently as last week, I had a man say to me on LinkedIn in the comments, he's like, you keep talking about the adult industry. I bet you've never done it. I bet you've never made a video or anything like that. And I was like, just go and Google me, Google my name, and then maybe let's have this conversation. I think I have more I'm able to speak on behalf of this space. You're not. And this is only because I guess I'm still in the industry to a certain degree. Whereas if I was going to go do something else, if I was to start a PR and marketing agency representing travel brands, yes, I will probably have to go back and scrub my digital footprint and make sure that that's all cleaned up. For me, I didn't have to because it goes hand in hand. And I didn't really want to. Like, I'm really proud of what I've done. I've gone from being like a broke single mum, not being able to pay my rent, to being an OnlyFans millionaire. And if I hadn't ever had that journey, then why am I in this space doing PR and marketing for the industry? Since I've started Million Billion, there's been a few copycat agencies pop up. None of who have worked in the industry. As much as I'm very supportive of women in business, I don't think it's fair for you to be making money off sex workers if you have not experienced the judgment and the stigma that they have. Like, it's not fair for you to be able to come in and profit, but without experiencing the downsides of it. For me, it worked out well. I could have leveraged what I've done to do this, but that wouldn't have been the case if I went into a different area of work.
Yeah, definitely makes sense there. Scrubbing the leaks, that's a really good idea. Definitely makes sense if you're going more safe for work. Scrub everything to your best of your ability. I just want to take 1 second because what you said, that comment on it is not right for you to profit off of an industry if you've not existed within it, especially one that is so heavily punished for existing. I love that perspective. I really appreciate that perspective. Like, really appreciate it. All right. Now that we're going from adult content, right? How's your life different? Would you say now that you're in your own different business, do you miss it or are you just thriving?
Don't miss the content creation whatsoever. I'm so glad I don't have to be filming content for OF anymore. Love that. I think that I love that I'm still within the community. So, I'm still very passionate about it. This is still, I guess, like my bread and butter. Don't miss content creation. And you know what? It's actually funny, the shift that people have. Like, I'm treated different. So as soon as I removed that link out of my bio, I started getting requests for brand deals because I've got, I think like 94,000 followers on Instagram. I get invited to events. I get asked to go and promote things. And that's not me doing any outreach. That's because someone's found me. And I've got an Instagram following, but I don't have an OnlyFans. So all of a sudden, all these opportunities started coming to me. And I'm like, interesting that no one would have looked at me for this if I was still doing content. It was only within a matter of weeks that I removed that bio that these opportunities started coming. I'm now invited to speak on like business podcasts and so I've always done media, I've always done interviews and things like that. But the range of people who are now interested in what I have to say is so much broader because now they're like, she's a real business owner now. Yeah, so I've spoken on business podcasts and which is great. I'm glad that I can be that person to sort of bridge the gap. And I always go on and speak about the industry, always. I didn't realize how many other opportunities were out there for me as soon as I removed the link from my bio. Like it's so significant. The amount of like free stuff I get sent because they're like, oh, maybe she'll promote it on her Instagram. Nobody sent me anything. Like for years when I was an OnlyFans creator, and then I ended up having to like remove my PO box. I'm like, this is too much. Because I feel bad when people are like sending me stuff. I'm like, I don't want to promote it. I don't want to be an influencer. I'm not interested. I was really, really surprised with how society treated me so much differently. And I think when you're in the trenches, I like that term, you forget that there's an outside world out there. And I just didn't realize that I was being that stigmatized because everyone else surrounded with was in the same situation. Yeah, I didn't expect to be answering this question like that, being like, yeah, it was actually really significant, the change. I thought maybe there'll be a little bit. No, it was significant the way that people treat me now. So different.
I'm so happy, and that's heartbreaking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is so frustrating.
It makes me angry, but then there's also that sense that I'm like, okay, I want to be able to speak out because I'm, I guess, like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like I no longer create content, but I talk to creators all day, every day. So I want to, there's not many people who have been on the path that I've been on. And I get really passionate about like sprinting down that path and taking every opportunity. And I get told so often like, like I didn't realize that, these creators have things like CRM systems, they're running analytics, like it's business behind it. And I'm like, yes, as long as I'm still getting that reaction from people and I know that I'm still having conversations that people weren't aware of, then this is something that like, I'm happy to be that person to keep going and trying to smash that glass ceiling.
We need those voices. So that's amazing. That's what we need. A big thank you from everyone for that. That's a part of what creators, Spicy Tea, our future goals is just try and get the creator voice louder. Get that voice louder. Get as many creators as successful as possible so we can have a louder voice that is heard in terms of things like legislation, big decisions, and at bare minimum, respect. So I feel you on that.
When people like competing with each other, but like, oh, this person's copying me, they're copying. I mean, I think what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If there's someone in this industry that is doing well, and maybe they're doing things a bit different, but they're doing well, and that needs to be supported because the more success that we can get in whatever different vertical that looks like, it's going to benefit everyone. Here in Australia, we had a bout of reality TV stars joining OnlyFans, and there was a lot of commotion in the community here where people were like, it's not fair. They've already got these big platforms, these big Instagram followings, so they're making all this money on OnlyFans and I'm not. And I'm like, yes, but now OnlyFans is in the news and now it's starting to be more accepted because these reality TV stars are on it. If there's a subscriber that's going to jump on and subscribe to them, they're more likely going to subscribe to other people as well. This is good for all of us. And that's the mindset that I would like to see more people have, is this, it's a cooperative effort to remove this stigma.
100 million%. We just last month had a podcast with the lovely Casey, and we spoke on this, how we cannot spend our time and our energy tearing each other down when we need to be raising everyone up. Everyone. Okay. I have peppered you with every question under the sun. Thank you for tolerating it. I have one last one for you. Okay. So if you could speak with a creator who's sitting here nervous as all hell, looking towards their future, what would you say to them?
Say, let's start having that conversation now. What do you want to do? Yes, it may seem really, really far away, and you may think that you're going to do this forever. And again, I really want to make sure I'm coming across clear in the sense that I do not think women age out or creators age out of this industry. You can be, you can look however you look, you can be whatever age you are, you will still make money. However, at some stage you burn out, at some stage you get bored, at some stage it's like, what else is next? So let's start having that conversation now. This isn't something that you're like, I'll start thinking about that in 12 months time, because once you start resenting your job, once you start getting bored, your views start going down, and then it's too late to be like, oh no, now I want to start another business. It's like, well, while you've got that concentrated window of attention, how are you going to start something else? And then there's so many, look what just has happened with Hailey Bieber, who's just sold her road for $1 billion. She was an influencer. She was is so famous. She's made something else and now she's sold it. And that is what I want to see OnlyFans creators doing. I want to see them creating something that is of value. And like Hailey Bieber could have kept road. She could have just been an influencer, but she didn't. She had something else. So she had options. And that is what I want for everybody. I want them to be able to have options. And if you are going to be an OnlyFans creator forever, awesome. Like, I love that for you. But guess what? You've got another stream of income. And it's different everywhere in the world. But in some locations, if you're doing OnlyFans, you can't use that if you're going to go get a bank loan or a mortgage or something. Whereas if you've got another, normal stream of income, it just opens so many other doors for you. You've got this stigma and everything with OnlyFans. Use that to your advantage. Use the views, use the eyeballs on you, and being like, everyone's looking at me right now. How am I going to make this last long term?
I love it. I love it. All right. I lied to you. I do have one more question. Miss Lucy Banks, can you do me a favor? Can you plug yourself for a good minute here? Just plug away.
I would love that. So you can find me on Instagram at _millionmedia_. Generally, we work with top creators and businesses in this space to do their PR and marketing. That's what we've created. However, in the last, maybe 6 months or so, I'm like, that's great. I love what I do. What about everybody else? Because again, I've done it. I started with a 0 following. I wasn't an influencer and I grew it myself. So that just from like a passion project, they're the people that I want to be able to help. So then when they are top creators, they come to me for their PR and marketing. So we are just about to launch, well, by the time this is out, it probably would have been launched, Creator Cash Club, which you can find on Instagram, Creator Cash Club _. You pay a one-off fee to enter, lifetime access, and it is full of tips and tricks and hacks and connections and business opportunities for you to grow. So yes, it's got your daily Instagram trends, your TikTok trends, blah, blah, blah. But it's also these like tech men who are approaching me and they're like, I want to get into the industry. I've got this idea. I'm like, great. You can pay to enter the Creator Cash Club and come and speak to the creators. Come and ask them what they want, and then you give them equity in what you're creating. It's got things like the paid brand deals, collaboration houses. It's literally just a membership, only one-off fees, so it's not ongoing, because if someone's having a bad month or something, I don't want them to lose these opportunities. That's when they need the opportunities. So you only pay once. And yeah, it's something that I'm so, you can see like I light up when I talk about it. I'm so excited. So Creator Cash Club _ on Instagram. And for myself, you can find me at I'm Lucy Banks. Yes, that's it. That's my handle. And I'm super chatty. Like, I love having conversations. I love watching people develop and grow in this world, not only as creators, but as women and as human beings as well. Watching that I'm very big on community. So that was a bit of a rant, but yes. If anyone's listening and wants to come in and say hi, slide into my DMs, jump into Creator Cash Club, ask the questions. I do a lot of mentorship as well, which again is one of the driving factors behind Creator Cash Club, because I'm just doing all these emails and DMs and everything, and everyone's asking the same questions. I'm like, let's just put this all in together and all help each other. So yeah, that's something I would love to see more people get involved in so we can all grow together.
Thank you. Thank you, Million. Lucy, I just want to close this by saying the fact that you are so incredibly focused, you built your entire new business and your entire self around helping the creator community. Thank you from all of us. And another thank you from everyone at Creator Spicy Tea for joining today. We cannot appreciate you more. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you.
Alrighty, y'all. Can we give one last big spicy thank you to Lucy Banks? It is always so inspiring and exciting for me to get to sit down with another entrepreneur who's so focused on community, which I didn't know that about her. This is so exciting for me. She's so focused on helping creators reach the heights we all deserve to reach as a collective industry. And I'll be absolutely sure to get all of her links down below in the description box for y'all. It really seems like she has quite a few resources that can be extremely helpful. Definitely check those out. What about y'all? Have y'all been thinking about what comes next, or do you already have a game plan? I know for myself, this is something I kind of tucked into the back scary closet that we put the dresser in front of and pretend doesn't exist, right? But Lucy's totally right. We gotta dig into it sooner than later, and having a plan will kind of, not leave us 6 ways to Sunday screwed when it gets to that point. So what's your plan? Or have you not thought it through yet? Is it in your closet too? If not, y'all, I got bad news for all of us. Seems like it might be time. Okay, I'm rambling. Thank you guys all so much for sitting down with us today. I appreciate the ever-loving shit out of y'all so much. All right. This has once again been Allie with Creators Spicy Tea. I really hope that today's episode was helpful and at minimum inspires you to start looking towards tomorrow and making some plans. More so though, I hope you're safe. I hope you are sane. And for the love of fuck, I hope you're flourishing.